Okay, that was about 20 breaths, pretty fast, but so, that's with the training wheels. We need to kind of give ourselves a little direction, a little help. Our minds will just go off. Our minds are very facile. They're constantly doing their comparing, analyzing, critiquing, constantly doing their trip. So when we start to focus the attention, we start to see just how much of that we do in the course of a day. Constantly making judgments, constantly comparing, analyzing, contrasting, all of these things. So once we start to focus the mind a little bit more, have it come to rest on something, and right now we're using the breath, but this is still like training wheels. Gradually we'll let the counting go and maybe inhale and just exhale one. And then gradually let go of the counting and just be with the breath. And maybe the cool, or just visualizing it coming in, breathing out. But in the beginning, sometimes we need a little bit more direction, a little bit more focus. So counting the breath to begin can be useful. So the Shamatha experience is often described, first of all, by a waterfall. The thoughts are just constantly bombarding us, one after another, in a torrent of thoughts, just crashing and going one after another. Gradually, with time, it becomes more of a meandering stream, sometimes faster, sometimes slower, but there's a little space begins to get created in our Shamatha meditation. And then it's described as being an ocean, deep, but sometimes the waves rise up and then they come down. Little space, thoughts may come like a wave and down. And then gradually, as one becomes more proficient, it is like a calm, clear mountain lake without ripple, pure, clear, unmoving. So these are the stages of shamatha, tranquility meditation. And it is, these are the things we look for. Maybe the thoughts begin to gradually subside a little bit, and that's progress on the path. And getting a little space from those thoughts allow you, when you're off the cushion, not to be so reactive in your day-to-day life, just reacting to someone or something. You get a little space, you can be responsive. You can respond to the situation, but not react. So these are how things, this is, and your life becomes more enjoyable. You're not in conflict with everything. You start cultivating certain qualities of patience, of generosity. This is the wisdom aspect of meditation. Your mind begins to take on kind of new qualities in this more peaceful, tranquil, calm, abiding state. Any question about the sitting practice, the particular things that we talked about, sitting? Does this sound pretty familiar? Yes, is this? But it's important when you're at home, when you go home, to make yourself a sacred space in your house somewhere. It doesn't have to be a big room, although I hear lots of people now are having meditation rooms and yoga rooms, and that's great if you have the luxury of such a thing. But it doesn't have to be, a room. It can be a little cubicle where you have a little table. You have your zabuton, which is the under cushion, that your zafu rests on. That kind of helps protect your knees from the floor if you're on a hard surface. The zabuton helps, and it's nice to have, a little cushion. Again, be comfortable. Your cushion, a little table, a picture of your teacher, or who or whatever that may be. Incense, flowers, candle. You're making a sacred space for yourself. When you go there, your mind is already starting to take on that quality of tranquility. So we're kind of training our mind. This is mind training. And having all of the things that help the mind is important. And the physical kind of props, if you will, in a way, help, particularly in the beginning. You take your mind wherever you go, and of course you don't really need to have all those things. But in the beginning, it's kind of a way of training your mind to the state that we're talking about here. So creating that for yourself in your house, it could be in your bedroom, it could be anywhere where you have the space. Little, not a big deal. But that is your meditation space. You're able to close the door, turn off the cell phone, close the door so the cat doesn't come in. Cats love these. When you meditate, they're going to be right on your lap. You attract animals like crazy. They know. They say, oh, that's a nice vibe. I like that. But that's how you make it your own. And then it becomes something that you look forward to. And in the beginning, a short period of time. 5-10 minutes. It shouldn't be something that, you're looking at, am I done yet? Can I go now? You should want to come back to it. So a couple of shorter sessions would be better than long ones where your mind really does begin to wander and you're not doing your meditation properly. You're really thinking about other things. We really want to stay one-pointed at this point, in Shamatha on the breath. Now, Shamatha is not the end-all and be-all meditation, but it's the beginning of taming the mind. In our tradition, we have the Shamatha, tranquility meditation. We have Vipassana, or insight meditation. And we have Mahamudra. We have deity yoga, where we have the creation and completion stages, where your mind rests in its natural state. There's a variety of things that kind of on the path, like we were talking about, that lead the mind, to realize the wisdom that it is. This part of coming home to our true nature. So a few of you have taken refuge. This is really the first coming onto the path of Buddhism, where you say, yes, I see the validity of this, and yes, I want to take refuge in something that is long-lasting and of value, not something that's impermanent and is really going to fade away and leave me with more suffering. What we talk about with refuge is refuge, and this will probably be one of the last things we talk about, and we'll talk about it more because some of you may want to take refuge. Refuge in the Buddha, refuge in the teaching, refuge in the fully awakened, enlightened one, the Buddha, and the Dharma, the teachings, and the scriptures, and a refuge in the Sangha, the highly accomplished bodhisattvas and those people who have attained realization on the path, the noble Sangha. There's different uses of the word Sangha. We are a Sangha. We people who come together to study Buddhism, we're a Sangha. We're Sangha brothers and sisters. We have a common kind of goal. We're part of the Sangha. But the Sangha that we take refuge in is the enlightened Sangha. These people who have attained a certain level, or as it is said, a bhumi, stage on the path, have realization. We take refuge in these enlightened beings. And in this formal ceremony, a little bit of your hair is cut, and you're given a name saying that, from here, my life is changed. I take a new direction, a new path. And it really is a new path. It's adhering to certain principles, and there are certain commitments that go with that. To revere the image of the Buddha, to really not put down any religion, to not harm beings, to respect the Dharma in the way of texts and things like that, to put it in a safe place, not stepping over it or on it, and to have respect for those teachers, lamas, those people who have taken vows or may be wearing robes. You say that, it's a commitment and part of the vow. But anyone can do that. It is a matter of we say there are four things that turn the mind to Dharma. The first one is this precious human birth. It is said that we are very fortunate to be born human. We could be born in other realms. We could be born in hell realms, where suffering is tremendous. One's mind generally doesn't turn to the Dharma in that situation. There's too much suffering. We could be born as a ghost, or that is constantly longing and never satisfied. And there are certain passions that go with these things. Anger and violence lead to the hell realms. Greed leads to these the so-called hungry ghost realm. Ignorance and stupidity at the animal realms. Now we may think that animals have a great deal of understanding, and compared to some humans it seems so, but it's hard for them to be realized nonetheless. Human beings have a particular balance, of suffering and leisure time to actually study and follow the teachings of the Buddha. So in that sense, we are very fortunate. There are the God realms, where everything is so wonderful that all of their needs are satisfied, that, again, just like the hell realms were so intense, there's the other polarity where they're so satisfied and that their mind doesn't turn to the Dharma and being of benefit to others. But they're still suffering there, particularly towards the end of one's life. They see their next life and they see the suffering. We say we want to generate benefit and merit. In the situation in these other realms, we don't generate that same kind of thing, and there is the possibility of falling back. And in that way, in the God realms, they see their next birth, and it can be a scary proposition. And similarly with the other Deva realms, they are fighting and jealous and those kinds of things. So this precious birth, and obviously your being here is says something about this causes and conditions for you. The fact that we're having this conversation and you've given up time to be here is really quite extraordinary. There's a myriad other things you could be doing, but the causes and conditions are such that you decided not to do those myriad other things and be here listening to this guy from Florida. That's not an accident. There are causes and conditions. There's a mind stream that said, this is worth listening to. There's something here that's of value. As you continue along the path, recognizing the preciousness of this human rebirth is one of those things that turns the mind to Dharma. The other thing that turns the mind towards the Dharma is impermanence. Ever-changing impermanence. We don't know how long we have here. None of us do. And one of my practices is to read the obituaries every day. And I see ages from newborns, teens, 20s, 30s. Those people think they were going to live longer, but we don't know. We don't know what's going to come first, death or dinner. We don't know. Given that again is one of those things that turn the mind to Dharma. To use this precious human rebirth, to use this precious time that we have, because this time is unknown to us, how long we have, we want to make the most of it. It's like being given a precious jewel and, throwing it away. To not use it in the proper way. The third thing that turns the mind to Dharma is contemplating the nature of samsara, this wheel of transmigration that we've been going through since beginningless time. Great good fortune, we're human. We always haven't been human, according to the teachings of the Buddha. We've gone through all these other realms and successfully managed to be human this time, which again is no small feat. If we look at the amount of sentient beings that are in the animal realm, for example, you look at an ant bed, each of those are sentient beings. There's a lot of them in there. Not just one little kind of, think of all the ants, think of all the bugs, the bug world. I love those movies that show the bugs, and they're great. But there's a lot of them, and we've been there. We've been there. So this beginningless time, it's kind of hard to wrap your mind around beginningless time, but beginningless, endless time. Samsara is definitely unsatisfactory, and the idea here is to realize the nature of our mind, to be of benefit to others, to stop this samsaric transmigration to these different realms to suffer, but to be of actual benefit to other beings and to ourselves by practicing the Dharma and making the most, again, the twofold benefit for ourselves and others. Because we're all suffering. And there's a point, and this is, we're going to talk about, again, the three the yanas, the Hinayana, Mahayana, Vajrayana. Briefly, the Hinayana path is looking at oneself to get out of samsara, to end birth and death. Very disciplined, going to get out of samsara, going to realize nirvana, this blissful state. Very concerned with ending samsara and resting in this nirvana. Mahayana point of view is that's good to end samsara. That requires incredible discipline, and the Pratyeka Buddhas and Arhats have attained a very high level, but not the level of a bodhisattva. That comes at the Mahayana level, where we've dedicated ourselves not only to our own enlightenment, but have decided that we're also going to be of benefit to other suffering sentient beings. This is the Mahayana vow, and when one takes the bodhisattva vow, one vows, to return to benefit sentient beings, to do the work, to offer the work of their well-being for all sentient beings. See the difference between the two, between the Hinayana path, Mahayana path, Vajrayana path. The Vajrayana path is really the jet plane of realization, where one sees the nature of mind, then knows the nature of one's own Buddha nature, and really identifies with that Buddha nature, but not only sees oneself as Buddha, but all beings as Buddha, and relates to the world in that way. The Buddha, when he was teaching, said, so many Buddhas. That's all he saw us. And that's who you are, Buddha. But one begins to really cultivate that quality of seeing everyone as Buddha. So those are the yanas.